Sonic the Hedgehog has to be one of the most interesting video game series when it comes to looking at its quality since it started in 1991. It has to be one of the most inconsistent series I have grown up with. There's plenty of good and plenty of bad. The little dude has always struggled to maintain a consistent line of quality games. With the release of the first Sonic movie and now Sonic the Hedgehog 2, in a strange turn of events, the movies are probably the most consistently good pieces of Sonic media, at least in my eye. The fans and the general audience seem to enjoy these films, which is great for not only the fans, but for the franchise's image. For now, the movies seem to have a good future ahead of them, but what about the future of Sonic-centric game? The next mainline title, Sonic Frontiers, will be releasing in the holiday season of 2022, with an emphasis on an open world gameplay, a first for the series. This title has many concerns from fans because, let's be honest, Sonic Forces, the last game that was released, was probably the most mediocre Sonic game in a very, very long time. So fans' anticipations have been kind of tainted for this upcoming release. Sonic just never seemed to find a good fitting within the modern era of gaming. His games that have centered around him have struggled with trying to find an identity for itself and keeping up the good quality. Sure, there was Sonic Colors and Generations and Mania, which were pretty damn good, but they had their own problems. Going from a series of linear titles to now a full-blown open world design is a big leap for the franchise. One that could end up backfiring immensely, which would be sad to see. There are very few franchises out there that have managed to convert well into an open world design, with examples such as Breath of the Wild and Halo Infinite. Can Sonic truly withstand another major blow due to the fact that Sega has changed what type of genre or differently designed game he has been in? Honestly, I don't know the answer to that, and it worries me relentlessly. Much like Master Chief, Sonic is one of my favourite video game characters ever. His attitude, his colourful nature is what makes him so appealing, but that all means nothing when the game he's in are absolute disappointments or at worst, complete dire nonsense. We all remember Sonic 06 and that fucking bestiality scene. Who the fuck wrote that? The last thing I would ever want for this character is for his gaming status to be completely gone from existence and Sega to start considering to ditch the games altogether. The series, mainly for Sonic himself, needs to find its footing and figure out what kind of game it wants to be going forward. Does it want to continue with either being a 2D or 3D platformer with either a darker tone or a lighter tone, cause man, talk about a tonal whiplash with how his games were in the mid-2000s. Or does it want to be a full-blown open world game that could end up going down poorly? In my eyes, I think Sega needs to look at something in the form of the Resident Evil series about how to handle a series that has had such a mixed bag of titles and eventually lost its identity as it went on. Capcom created Resident Evil 7 in response to the fan complaints of how much of a downgrade the series went in terms of quality. With Resident Evil 7, it went back to the series' roots and fans enjoyed it. Now, as a result of that change, the franchise has made a major comeback. This is something the Sonic-focused games need. A re-evaluation of what Sega wants him to be, and remember why fans became invested, by going back to what made him great, but also adding new elements to make things fresh. And before you say, yes, Mania was a thing, but it was more of a compilation of remixed levels with only a few new ones, but that's not what I'm going for here. If Sega wants to venture into different territories to keep the series as a whole fresh, and without running the risk of having Sonic himself in too many different styles of games, why not create some spin-off titles of some of the other Sonic characters instead of Sonic himself? Focus the gameplay on the character's traits and personality. I'd make the argument that Shadow the Hedgehog would have been a banging title if it was a character action game in the same vein as Devil May Cry. Funnily enough, another Capcom franchise. A game like that for this character would have or could be awesome and suitable since he's the more chaotic and aggressive type of character. What about a Knuckles spin-off? The dude hasn't had his own game yet and he'd be great as an action-adventure centric series, taking cues from something like, I know this is going to be really obscure, The Matrix Path of Neo.
Are you serious?
Which had a fantastic combat system with plenty of combos to pull off, creating some visually amazing moves and animations to watch unfold. What about Tails? Tails would be awesome as a series that plays similar to something like Jak and Daxter, a 3D platformer with an interconnected world with some fun vehicles and challenges to experience. You could choose to travel by foot or using the tornado to travel throughout the world. Hell, make the tornado an all-in-one vehicle where it can transform into a plane, boat or a motorcycle, but have the design of the world accommodate all these means of transportations. Have each new vehicle be something you can get as you progress through the story by doing various tasks or collecting specific items. There are a lot of exciting ideas that you can create around the cast of other characters rather than Sonic himself, and I think that would be pretty cool and interesting. A lot of these characters have huge fan bases of their own, so why not make games on them instead? Give Sonic a bit of a break. But going back to talking about Sonic himself, I think the future of Sonic games that are focused solely on him would be bright if Sega took lessons from how Capcom fixed Resident Evil's long-running issue. The movies are providing a great service in giving the series relevancy and keeping up a good image, but the games that are all about him are why we have this series in the first place. To conclude, I'm looking forward to Sonic Frontiers, but I'm also nervous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't because of this franchise's history with inconsistency and disappointment. I'd hate to see Frontiers suck. In the meantime, I'ma be blasting all of me whilst I wait. Have a good day, peeps.